I am going to tell you guys one of the most embarrassing stories of my entire life. Before I was the TheCaliEffect, king of games, the player baller that I am today, having no fear talking to women and can get any woman that he so pleases, I was just like a lot of you guys. I didn't necessarily talk to girls. I was a little recluse, maybe a little withheld, and didn't talk to the women that I like. I had this huge crush on this girl named Olivia Love. She was easily the most beautiful woman in the entire school, but do not tell any of the other girls that I went to school with. They were the most beautiful girl. But I digress. Towards the end of the year, I finally got the courage to say, hey, when we turn 30, you're gonna be my girl. And she looked at me with so much confusion, like, I still remember it. She was like, you wanna be with me when I'm 30, when I'm old and ugly? And I'm like, yeah, I wanna be with you. And she was like, okay, sure. But it took me a little bit longer to realize that maybe if I could have her when she was 30 and she was agreeing to that then she would probably agree to me being with her now. You guys could say that I missed my shot or I missed my timing, and that's exactly what we're going to be showing you guys in this video. Certain Yu-Gi-Oh cards don't get to activate their effects when you want them to. Some of them can't activate their effects, and you guys should learn how to manipulate those cards to your advantage. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then go and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, go ahead and that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. I also want to give a special thanks to every single one of my Patreons. Without you guys, videos like this would not be possible. Also, a mad shout out to our newest Patreon, Travis. Welcome to the top dogs, man. Make sure you add yourself to that Discord as well as message me or Jest so we can get you in the top dogs so you can take advantage of all of your rewards. Without further ado, I present to you how Yu-Gi-Oh cards can miss timing. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can get the person that you want. Stop hiding behind yourself and putting self-doubt within you and go talk to that person that you want to be with. I guarantee you'll feel a lot better once you get it off your chest. And if you don't, we still got Yu-Gi-Oh, boys! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so before we get into this video, I actually strongly recommend that you guys check out my video on how monsters effects work. Now, we'll be lightly brushing over that topic for the people that don't understand how monsters effects or which monster effects will activate and which won't. You might want to check out that video. I'll leave it down below in the description. This video will be talking to you guys about how cards miss timing, but I think the best way to explain it is to explain how these monster effects texts work and how these specific monsters can miss timing under certain circumstances. Let's jump on right into it. I think a lot of people have a huge confusion about which cards exactly miss timing. There's two different types of mistiming or missing timing if you ask me. Monster effects that just can't be used because certain card effects have been activated, and then cards that just can't be used in response to other cards because other cards are in the way preventing them. If it's a little confusing, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start with the first one, talking about monster effects that miss timing. Now, there are three different types of monster effects that are trigger effects. The first one states, when a situation arises, perform a certain action. These effects are mandatory, and if able, you must use these monster effects. A good example is Hush Psychic Cleric. When it is sent to the graveyard, you special summon a psychic monster to your side of the field. Notice that it doesn't say you can, meaning that this effect cannot miss timing, and even if it has to, it will activate in a new chain. The next type of monster effects that are trigger effects are if a certain scenario happens, then you can perform that said action. A really good example is Mermail Abyss Gun. Then as you guys can see, if it is discarded by a card effect, you can special summon a Mermail monster to your side of the field. That effect is a trigger effect but cannot miss timing. Even if Mermail Abyss Gun must activate in a separate chain, you can use Gun's effect. So even if there are multiple cards in the way, after discarding that card or during the same chain link, you're discarding Gun, you'll be able to activate it in its own new chain if you decide so. The last type of trigger monster effects are when a certain card effect activates, or when you're under a certain scenario, you can perform a certain action. Do not confuse these for the first scenarios, when and perform certain action, because this card does say when and then you can. If they say those two in the same text, that means that the card can miss timing. And here's how. Let's say, for example, my opponent has Yang Buy-in on their side of the field, and I use Soul Taker on it. A lot of players are like, yeah, CaliEffect is not wrong with that. I'd be able to summon another Yang, right? That's actually incorrect, and here's why. Soul Taker actually has two effects instead of one. Its first effect would destroy the Yang monster, but then it has a then effect, meaning that there is another effect right after destroying the monster that you must fulfill. After Buy-in is destroyed, the opponent gains 1,000 life points, and since we know that Buy-in is a when you can effect, it must be the last thing to happen for it to resolve. That's not true in the case of Soul Taker, seeing that my opponent would gain 1,000 life points. Now, don't get this confused. There are other cards that work perfectly well with Yang monsters, and cards that say when and you can in their card text. One, for example, being Dragonic Diagram. Dragonic Diagram destroys a monster on your side of the field in this situation for Yang Buy-in to add a True Draco or True King monster from your deck to your hand. The difference between Soul Taker and Dragonic Diagram is that Diagram says, and if you do, meaning the effects are simultaneous. Destroying and adding is happening at the exact same time, where Soul Taker, the last thing to happen is the gain of 1,000 life points. And that's pretty much the difference on how when you can effects can miss timing. Now that we have that out of the way, I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, hey, CaliEffect, I understand how when and you can effects activate, as well as how to make them miss timing, but how can I prevent my opponent from activating certain card effects to my card effects? Well, it's really simple, and if you follow this simple step, you'll be a pro player in no time. There are certain card effects that must be directly responded to other card effects in order for them to work. And how you manipulate this is by activating multiple cards at the same time with the same trigger effects, in order for you to be able to choose which ones you want to use at certain times. This is called simultaneous effects go on chain, or SIGCOG for short. I'm gonna give you guys a quick example. Let's say, for example, I have Dante Traveler of Burning Abyss, and I use this effect detaching one material to the graveyard to send 3 cards from the top of my deck to the graveyard. Of those 3 cards, I decide to send a Seer, a Graph, and a Fiendish Rhino Warrior. They're all sent at the exact same time, and they all have the effect of if you can in their card text. So I get to choose which certain cards will be Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, and Chainlink 3 before my opponent can activate other cards in response. So in this particular situation, if I'm trying to dodge a card like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, I would make Seer Chainlink 3 and then the other 2 monsters as Chainlink 1 and 2. And saying that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring can only be responded to the latest card, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring can't stop Graph or my Fiendish Rhino Warrior from activating their effects. I think there's so much information to be learned in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you guys have any questions, concerns, or even videos that we could do to help you make a better player, call it Yu-Gi-Oh! 101, post down below in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of The CaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, and if you didn't, let us know down below in the comment section what we could do to be better. Please like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.